Plants produce some of the most intricate and amazing structures that we find in nature. And while they all share a common body plan, so stems, roots, leaves, and reproductive organs like flowers, there's incredible diversity across these different structures between different species. Some of the most complex structures that we see are the traps of carnivorous plants. These traps turn the interaction between plants and animals on its head. So instead of being eaten, they do the eating themselves. And there are lots of different types of carnivorous plants. So from Venus flytraps that snap shut on their prey, to the big cup-shaped Nepenthes and Sarracenia pitcher plants that trap insects by them slipping inside. All of these different traps have evolved from flat leaves like the ones we see around us every day. And the really cool thing is that these complex traps have evolved several times. So cup-shaped traps have evolved 4 times independently, each time from flat leaves. That's 4 separate transitions from a flat leaf to a cup-shaped trap. And to me, this suggests a couple of things. Firstly, that this cup shape is a very useful shape for a plant to have. And secondly, that it actually might be quite easy for a plant to change from a flat leaf into a cup-shaped trap, despite it looking like a very complicated shape to make. I'm fascinated both by how this evolution has happened, so how cup-shaped traps evolved from flat leaves, and also by how the plants develop these structures in the first place, how they grow from tiny mounds of undifferentiated cells, which we call leaf primordia, and how they go from that to make these complex structures. And in both cases, I hope that the answers to these questions will help us understand how plants develop and evolve complex shapes, and also illustrate some general rules of plant development. Now, in my research, I use a rather more compact carnivorous plant. So rather than the big pitcher plants, which take up a lot of space and sometimes take years to flower, I use this plant here, Utricularia gibba, which is more commonly known as the floating bladderwort, or the hump bladderwort. And now there are over 200 species of Utricularia, which make it the most species-rich group of all the carnivorous plants. And mostly they grow in wet soil, but some, like this Utricularia gibba here, they are aquatic, so they grow floating in water. And Utricularia gibba is particularly good because it's small enough to image under the microscope, and it grows very quickly, and we can get it to flower within 3 or 4 months. And we can also genetically modify it, and that will help us understand how its genes function and how it grows in more detail. And together, these traits mean that it's an all-round good lab rat, so great to grow in the lab and work on.